What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mendoza coming at you live with another mix tutorial. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the JST Soar and how it can help make your vocals sound nice and wide. Let's roll.
Never be separated, and nothing really got in our way then. And now it just turned into
So I got the plugin pulled up here. So what this is a tape delay emulation, and it has some pretty cool characteristics and sounds that they modeled from some tape machines to help give it a very unique delay sound. So what we got here is we got some repeats, which is basically like your digital repeats or feedback. The age, which is going to be the age of the actual tape machine, and the more that you crank it, the less top end and transient information that it will have. We have the health and the flutter, which help with the nuances of the tape machine that they actually emulated. And then we have the contour, which is basically like a high pass filter that allows you to roll off the low end, because this does get pretty warm and it can get a little bit muddy if you don't have that in there. Then we have a tap tempo, so you can tap the tempo yourself, or you can host it to the actual session BPM, which I have here. And I actually doubled it because the actual session is only 85 BPM. So I went ahead and doubled that, so that way I could get a little bit faster of a delay, because I'm just looking to create width. I'm not looking for actual delay throws or anything like that. You have the stereo, and you also have a mono mode. For this, I personally like to go with the stereo because I'm looking for that stereo width. And then you have just some additional feedback, whether you want that or not. And then the dry wet nut. Now the main parameters of this to get the delays that you're looking for, you have 1/2, 2/3, 3/1, single and multi. So what these are is 1/2 is a 16th and a dotted eighth note. 2/3 is a quarter and a dotted eighth. 3/1 is a 16th and a quarter. Single is just a straight quarter note, and then the multi is a 16th, a quarter, and a dotted eighth note. Now one is in the left ear, one is in the right ear, and right now I have it on 2/3, which is a 16th and an eighth. The 16th will go on the left, and the dotted eighth will go on the right, and it kind of gives this ping pong wide stereo spread feel. So let's get right into it. So I have this R&B vocal right here by my man Jody Jermaine. Shout out to him. I'll link his music in the bio. He's super dope, super talented, and a great songwriter. So here's what it sounds like, just dry.
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated, and nothing really got in our way then. And now it just turned into pages without trying.
Alright, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and mute the beat, and we're going to just listen to the vocal in solo. Now I have Soar aux to its own separate bus, and I kind of messed with it and tweaked with it to get a nice wide sound, and this is kind of what I came up with.
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated, and nothing really got in our way then. And now it just turned into pages without trying. On to the next day, saying I love.
So since I have it on 2/3, you can hear the quarter note on the left and the dotted eighth on the right, and they're kind of going back and forth, and it's kind of creating a nice stereo spread. I do have the delay fairly quick. As you can see, I have it double timed, as I had mentioned. The session is only 85 BPM, and I just went ahead and times that by 2 so I can get a quicker delay. So what I did after that is I went ahead and I threw on a high and a low pass filter to kind of filter everything out, because like the delay sounds great, but I don't want it to be as prominent as it was. So I threw this on, and now it sounds like this.
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated.
Now the vocal stands out a little bit more, and those delays kind of go back. Now I just wanted to go even a little bit further back, because I just want them there for feel and for width, not necessarily to be heard. So I then added just the standard reverb that's inside of Pro Tools, and I have it kind of at 44% right now, almost halfway.
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated, and nothing really got in our way then.
Now, since the vocal is dry, this kind of creates a nice little ambience with both a delay and a reverb, because if I bypass this reverb, you'll hear like the delays are just a little dry, and then when I bring back the reverb, it feels like it sits a little bit better.
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated.
They have just a little bit too much weight on them, so let's bypass it.
I remember back in the days when we could.
It feels more subtle, and then inside the context of the music,
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated, and nothing really got in our way then. And now it just turning the pages without trying, on to the next day.
So it just creates a nice overall width, and then in those little gaps you could kind of hear those ping pong delays kind of going back and forth, kind of filling up those gaps a little bit. Check this out before and after.
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated, and nothing really got in our way then. And now it just turning the pages without trying, on to the next day.
Do you feel how it kind of falls into the actual instrumental? When the vocal's dry, it's just sitting on top, and then when we add the delay with a little bit of reverb on it, it just kind of sits back, and like everything feels unison. One more time.
I remember back in the days when we could never be separated, and nothing really got in our way then. And now it's just turning the pages without trying.
Super dope. Next, I have some harmonies that are inside the chorus, and they sound like this.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold.
So I thought that they sounded really good, and I felt like they were sitting in the mix fairly well, but I just wanted that extra width. Who doesn't want wider vocals? I went ahead, I did my little aux, and then I pulled up Soar once again, and on this one I did the multi, which is the 16th, the quarter, and the dotted eighth. So it has 3 delays happening, and I stereoized it and just made it sound super dope. So check it out with.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold.
Like, it just sounds like it almost created a reverb for those background vocals. Because listen again without.
I remember
With.
I remember.
Nice. So then I felt like it was a little bit, it had a little bit too much top end steel, even though on the edge I took off quite a bit. I just want to take off a little bit more. So I went ahead and did that with this.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold.
You see how the brightness is just a little too up front? I wanted to kind of tuck them back just a little bit, because these aren't necessarily supposed to be prominent. It's more of a feel.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold.
Now with the lead and the harmony with Soar.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold, yeah.
Now check it out. Watch what happens without it.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold.
Like, that sounds cool, but that's a little bit boring in my opinion. So in the context with both the lead Soar and the harmony Soar, as well as the beat, sounds like this.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold, yeah.
Now check out what happens when I bypass Soar on the harmonies.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold.
They just feel a little bit too dry and kind of bland. When I add these, adds that lushness. Here we go.
I remember waiting at your doorstep in the cold, yeah.
Super dope, right? I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope that you learned some, and if so, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to inquire about mixing and mastering services, hit me up at +48 on Instagram. And until next time, peace, love, and blessings.